Hello everyone, how you going? And welcome back to what I like to call questionable car mods. You can read it for yourself, but we all know we're all here for one thing, and that is to see all the worst creations and just, I guess, modifications to cars all under one roof. Because I guess for all these people, it must be true that beauty's in the eye of the beholder, because some of these creations are just, well, you'll see for yourself. But anyway, let's jump straight into it, shall we? So then, starting right off with more TikTok clowns. What are we gonna have? Oh my goodness, whoa, I'm surprised you even are allowed to kind of touch those rooms. Look at that thing. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, I didn't even realize at first when they actually did the intro. Look at that. Yeah, got the soundtrack going. I'll only be able to play a snippet of it because I can only imagine it's copyrighted. But just look at this tink, and then you got the rims to be able to do it. My goodness, like I said, I'm surprised you're even able to touch those things because they look so ridiculously shiny, or if nothing else, just stupidly expensive. Pausing it there for a second, you can see that even though they have gone the massive wheels, and obviously this exhaust is just ridiculous, it's not as though they've done a full body kit or anything, so I can understand how it is a little bit lower. You know, usually when we get to see all these kind of vehicles have just been completely modified to the absolute max, but this one is doing a little bit tame. You know, they haven't gone and got the perpendicular camber that we see on some of these vehicles, and I guess the exhaust has kind of just been extended. It's not like it's an 8-inch exhaust or something like that, but actually I guess they've gone and got red tinting, which I can't imagine is very legal, but hey, I mean, I guess it kind of fits the kind of theme of the car. But yeah, even though it certainly isn't anything that I would consider owning, let alone driving, at the same time I have to give them a little bit of credit for their creativity. Kind of like I said, it certainly isn't the worst thing we've ever seen on here, not by a long while. And so hey, if you want to kind of go and scratch up your perfectly shiny wheels with your key, I mean, you do you really, especially because like I said, it does kind of bring back the memories, and it is pretty creative overall. So if you can kind of separate the two things out, I think it's a little bit better. You know, you got the car, which isn't amazing. I mean, it's kind of like what it is. But then if you have a look at the other side and you go, well, it's a little bit creative, and I guess that actually wins some brownie points. So I don't know if it's just me, but I feel as though overall this one kind of just levels out, and hey, if that's the worst thing they're doing to their 3OZ, well then I guess more power to them. This has got to be the ugliest thing I've seen, all the way from South Africa. Here we go, we've got a few panels, let's check them all out. Obviously we can see at the front here, oh my goodness, the most striking thing about this entire thing is just the headlights. I don't understand how they work or what they are, but let's have a look at this. Whoa, look at that. That is some serious kind of body panel work. I don't even know if it's cardboard or metal or what it is. Look at the amount of detail in all of this. Can't even tell what the car was to begin with. It has been modified that much. Just look at that. You would never even recognize this thing. But no, I'm actually kind of impressed that this thing can drive along and not just be completely weighed down with all this aerodynamic stuff that it's got on it, as well as the fact that it's managed to travel in one piece. You know, like I said, if it is cardboard, then I just don't understand how they managed to kind of stick it all on. It's honestly crazy how many individual pieces are actually stuck onto this car. And then as well as everything else, you can see that they're blacked out components, so they've completely replaced the bonnet here. But like I said, I have no idea what those headlights are, whether that's just been painted over the top, who knows. So someone really has spent a whole lot of weekends or a whole lot of money on this car. I guess really in the end, it just comes down to the fact that I just don't understand how anyone thinks that this is a good idea. You know, like I just said, even if they did it themselves, they would have spent so much money kind of getting all these body panels chopped out because they don't look bad. You know, the actual quality of the pieces look all symmetrical, and so I don't think that it's been hand cut. I'm fairly certain it is actually bent sheet metal. So really just the amount of individual folds all over this thing, from the semi-curvy components to just the 90-degree bands and all these cutouts here, would have been a lot of time than just even finding all the attachment points on the inside. So I guess let's say that if they are trying to make a Batmobile car, I feel as though they've certainly achieved what they set out to do if that's the case. And hey, really, as everyone knows, just every single body panel that you add on at least adds 20 horsepower to your car. Really, maybe that's why they actually needed all these body panels, just to kind of keep the thing stuck to the road, because even though it adds more horsepower, you know, they just need to be able to stick to the road. They just would go into space if they didn't have them all. But no, like I always say, I have no idea how this is even legal, and it's honestly impressive that someone hasn't just been pulled over or they just don't rip off the car. So I guess as strange as it might sound, I guess I have to give props to that, but really, this thing just should not be on the road, let alone even be made in the first place. Only in Alabama can you see the Doltima, a Dodge Dakota wrecked in the front and a Nissan Altima wrecked into the back, combined together to make this half American, half Japanese ute. What an absolute thing of beauty. That is a magnificent piece of work. I mean, really, looking at it, it doesn't look as though it's been poorly done or anything. Every single thing, it looks as though it's been correctly placed. They've even got a rear window, for goodness sake. So I have to kind of commend them on their attention to detail, because that thing has just been pulled off miraculously, especially out of those two cars. I mean, I don't know the exact model of cars, but you can kind of see what the hell is going on here. And also, considering it's a Nissan and then the Dodge tray at the back, it is honestly pretty incredible. It's funny because I'm fairly sure that virtually nowhere else in the world have these kind of utes. I don't know what to call them besides sports utes, but they're actually kind of a massive thing here. You see them with Holdens and Fords, and they're all old cars, and you see one, I don't know, just every 10 meters sometimes. So I don't know if I'm just a little bit numb to the entire concept, but really, I don't think it looks that bad. I mean, yeah, I can only agree that it's a little bit strange to make it out of a Nissan and a Dodge, but like I said, it has been flawlessly done. You can see all the body lines have been kind of preserved, and then it's obviously been repainted out the two-tone here, and even just some rails, I feel as though they work somehow. Really, just everything about it, all things considered, I reckon isn't too bad. And hey, I guess that's exactly what this episode is about. You know, so many people just go out there and make random creations that really, like, kind of like the last one, just should never be on the road, but I feel as though this one does actually have a place on the road, as unconventional as it may be to kind of join two cars and especially turn them into a ute in this circumstance. Really, at the same time, I reckon if that's kind of your project car and you pull it off that well, I reckon it's just allowed. Like here, here you go. I put up just a random image of Holden Ute, and you can see that that actually hasn't been done too bad. You know, you kind of compare the body lines, everything looks alright. I mean, I guess the weirdest part about this whole thing is maybe the hood scoop, but I guess I can overlook it. But really, when you compare them side by side, I certainly don't feel as though that one has been poorly done. And hey, really, I feel as though just because it's in Alabama, it just has to be given a pass, because the amount of crappy cars that come out of that state is absolutely ridiculous. And so really, I feel as though this one just has to be given a pass. Like I said, I can't really see the internals, so maybe on closer inspection, there's a few things wrong with it, but really, I just think it is not that bad. Carolina squat and all. Oh my goodness, am I even allowed to show that? I don't think I'm allowed to show those words on YouTube. And also, as much as you can kind of tell what is going on here, especially due to the title, but you can see that the front of the car is above the back of the car. I would have loved to have seen this kind of side profile of this entire thing, because even though you wouldn't have got these words on the back, I don't really care about them because I can't even show them, I feel. It would have been so much better to see what else I've done to it. You can see there's just ridiculous wheels. Just look at why they are. You would be put in jail for 100 years if you had anything like that in Australia, but no, it just seems fine to do. And where was this? I don't even know. Carolina, I think it was. And see, this kind of page just backs up my statement about the last one, because I feel as though this is the kind of stuff that I would be expecting to come out of Alabama and Florida and all of those kind of places. You know, if you kind of add everything up, you got the aerial that is attached to the roof racks, you got the words, you got whatever these other stickers are. They're too low pixel, but I can only imagine they're kind of offensive as well. Completely blacked out tail lights, and then like I said, the wheels, just everything about this car. As much as if you kind of just chopped off the outside, you could kind of say that this is a stock car. Really, when you expand your horizon to include the entire thing, you go, oh my goodness, they've actually done so much to the thing. Really, I think the thing I'm questioning the most is just the aerial. Why the hell did it need to be attached to the roof rack? You know, did you have another aerial that you just ripped off? Or is this some funky extra aerial that you've got going on? Like, what the hell is going on here? And why did you need to attach it to your roof racks and virtually make them, I guess, kind of unusable? You know, you might be able to get 2 kayaks either side, but really, you know, you've just completely just diminished the point of having the roof racks. And let's be honest, we all can picture the exact kind of person that is just hopping in and out of this car, just thinking that it's the absolute bomb, you know, just so proud of what they've done to their car, when you just go, really, why did you have to squat the rear of your car and just put all these extra modifications on it that it just really doesn't need, and just makes it look, well, in everyone else's opinion, just ugly? Because as well as just making it so everyone immediately knows what kind of person you are, you also kind of just decide with your car, you know, you're suddenly just going to be driving into the sky and just constantly looking up. You're not being able to kind of look at the road anymore as you're kind of peeking over the bonnet. I mean, I understand why people might want to lower their car, but why do you want to squat the car? It just makes it look like you've got an entire, I don't know, tank of water in the back. It honestly just doesn't make any sense to me, and I guess that's exactly what this entire sub is about. You know, just the winners are when you just don't understand the car anymore. That is when people have won. Why didn't anyone tell me Ford brought the retro T-Bird back? Wow, that would have been a serious kind of modification to whatever that car was in the beginning. To be able to get that kind of front end on a normal kind of car would have been a hell of a thing. I mean, maybe I'm exaggerating a little bit and it just kind of bolted on. I mean, that would have been a hell of a thing if it just didn't line up. But really, that has been incredibly done, from everything from the white wall tires to the front chrome grille. Whoever this person is definitely knew what look they were after and just went after one thing in particular, because that has been perfectly done. You can see how seamless this body panel just joins up, you know, and it goes underneath the car a little bit. It actually looks pretty darn good. And even just the color match, I wonder if they got it repainted or what. I mean, it feels like we're a little bit teased with this rear end, because it almost looks as though they've done something to the back as well. You know, you see a little bit of chrome here and there's a little bit of a tail. So maybe they actually went the whole hog and actually did front and back. You know, obviously you can't really change the middle of the car unless you're going to, I guess, virtually make the entire car. But no, as strange as it kind of sounds to be saying it, I kind of like what they've done to it. I guess in saying that, I don't think it works, but it is kind of just a cool idea that they've gone after. And really, if your goal is to be seen driving around, then this is just going to be the car for you. You know, exactly point and proving about this person taking a photo of it. Every single person is going to be driving by, walking by. It's just going to be going, what the hell was that car? What the hell is that car? I just don't understand what this thing is. Like I said, I have no idea what the original car was. Maybe it actually was a Ford and they haven't actually changed the entire kind of bolting opposition in, I don't know, what, 100 years almost? Not actually that long, but you know, the person who went, oh, well, I got this really old bonnet and I got this kind of new car, and I would kind of like to see if I can match them together. And well, I guess, like I said, it works, I reckon. Now it's just got me wondering if the wheels are from the original car as well. I mean, I'm sure I can search it up. I'm not seeing anything that resembles anything like what we're seeing in the other photos. So perhaps they're not actually original wheels, but really, those wheels are pretty crazy overall. So I guess overall, I just have to give props to this person for just following their dreams. And like I said, as strange as it may look, I feel as though it is actually not too bad overall. Backseat driver's wet dream. Oh my goodness, what the hell is going on here? There is no way that it is actually a functional car. Surely someone is actually pulling my leg and, you know, that has been photoshopped. Or I don't know what the hell is going on here, because you can see they've got the screen here, but then you've got 2 screens in the front as well, you know. It's as though the entire car has been flipped and they're driving kind of forklift style, just rear wheel drive or something. Because look, they've moved the entire center console over to here with all the entire gauges and all of that. I just don't even understand how this is even a thing. It is honestly an incredible work of something. And also, in saying that, I just once again have no idea how people come up with the inspiration of some of these things. Because if this has actually been done, the amount of time and effort that someone has gone to actually fully rearrange and then reupholster and redo all of that in the front just to start this image where I can only imagine that it can't actually drive, you know, to be able to reroute the entire steering column all the way through to the steering wheels would just be absolutely ridiculous. And there's also generally a reason why the gearbox selector is over the gearbox. You know, it makes it nice and easy so it doesn't have to run all these cables, and you have the entire housing over the top. You don't have to do anything funky. So like I said, I don't see how this thing would be able to drive, but really it's been incredibly done in terms of how well it's been reupholstered, and even just the inclusion of the matching screens in the front, that's pretty cool. Really, the more I look at it, the more I'm just kind of getting McLaren F1 vibes, where the driver is actually in the middle of the car with the two people either side of them. So hey, maybe in the same way the McLaren F1 just completely dominated racing for so many years, maybe this is actually going to be the next leap in technology. So really, just keep your eyes peeled. You're about to be seeing this all over the place. Obviously, we're going to see it's a Nissan, so just keep your eye on Nissan. They're going to be bringing something big to the market very soon. Spotted in our local Walmart parking lot. Ah, yes, the old absolutely I don't care, but I'm going to do whatever I want to my car. Look at that. That is just ridiculous. The amount of extra flex in the axle just by having wheels that wide when the car is obviously not designed to take it. And then really, how the hell has someone collected that many number plates where they have all of these things, but not a single one on the front of the car? That just doesn't make any sense. And then also, they've got some more at the back as a spoiler, and then just a straight pipe exhaust straight out the front. Don't even know what they've used to kind of create this hole. It almost looks like a grinder and some tin snips or something like that, because that is just such a kind of, I don't know, almost just leafed hole. And I've even just noticed that there's some more number plates going on here. I don't know if this person just drives around looking for number plates all over the highway, or if they're just actually going to re-register their car to get a new one every year. But I do not understand how they've managed to collect this many number plates. Also, it feels dumb to be nitpicky about the entire thing, all things considered, but I don't understand why they've actually stacked them this way. You know, if they actually wanted to have any kind of aerodynamics, they would have stacked them the other way, because air's just going to be hitting this one and trying to go under that one, instead of just gliding over the top like it would if they were actually inverted. But hey, I guess you just have to think back to the title. You know, it was obviously found at Walmart, and so you can't expect anything better from what I've heard. I'm honestly surprised that we don't have another kind of replica just left and right of this car. You know, you just have it completely stacked up, because that's the kind of people that I just expect to be going to Walmart. Actually, I have to zoom in here for a second, but I don't know if they've cut their roof off him to make a convertible or what the hell's going on here. I mean, there is a little bit of shade in there, so maybe not, but doesn't it just look a bit weird? But really, there hasn't been a single dollar spent on maintaining this entire car, you know, from the fact that I can only imagine their exhaust fell off, so they just chopped a hole in the bonnet, to the rusty out hole that they just filled with a number plate, or even just the windows, whether it has windows, who knows. It really does make sense why someone like that will be shopping at Walmart, because if they're not spending any money on their car, you can just imagine how cheap they are just generally in life. And so hey, I guess in that regard, I'm not surprised by what they're doing here. I mean, I certainly don't consider it to be legal, and it certainly looks very unsafe for all parties involved, but I just cannot say that I'm surprised by any of these components besides all the number plates they've collected. That's very different. In someone's mind, this is cool. What? Why is that cool? And that's not even functional. Like, the whole point of having the gauges is so you can read them on the inside so you know what the hell's going on inside your car. But to have them on the outside so people like the person on the left side of the photo can read, oh yeah, you got like max boost at the moment. Oh yeah, you know, that guy must be a cool guy. He's got max boost. Maybe even just, oh my goodness, look at his exhaust temperature. Wow, that is so cool. No, it just doesn't make any sense. Why does anyone think that this is cool? I mean, yeah, I guess I have to agree with the title that someone thinks this is cool, but it just doesn't make sense. How does anyone actually think that this is cool and even just spend the money doing it? I think what annoys me the most about it is just the fact that it is kind of, in the scheme of things, such a minor little thing that you've done to your car, but really it just makes it look so different and changes the entire perception and use case of the car. You know, no one is actually driving that along surely thinking that that is actually what it's meant to be doing, unless this person is the most gullible person in the world, or they're just a complete yes man. Just don't understand how this has even happened in the first place. I mean, I can only imagine that someone would have had to have done it themselves, because no mechanic or no installer is going to be putting these gauges on the outside of a car, let's be honest. But then again, at the same time, I don't understand how anyone that would actually have the knowledge about what something like that is would even think that it's a good idea to put them on the outside. It's just like the entire thing is just like a circle of conundrum. So yeah, I feel as though out of all the posts that we've seen today, this one is just the most confusing, because I just can't comprehend why anyone would want to do this. Regardless of whether it's functional or not, I can kind of understand sometimes, but this one just doesn't make any sense. You know, these things are only going to be for function, you know, because besides the actual look that they give internally, they really are just kind of a monitoring device. And so I just don't understand how anyone decides that that is the right way to go about it. But I guess at least if nothing else, it definitely makes sense why it is on that car, because you certainly know the kind of driver that is driving a convertible Mustang. And so I guess when you kind of think about it that way, it certainly explains a few things. All you could hear was scrapes, creaks, and fart sounds going about 15 miles an hour. Oh yes, just absolutely lovely. Like I said, I think it was the first post, you know, they didn't go too overboard, but this person has absolutely taken that mantra and just ran with it and just completely gone overboard. Just look at that. Look at the exhaust. I mean, obviously there was a whole bunch of other things here, but I just can't get over that exhaust. How does anyone think that that actually looks good? You know, I can understand how the big bolt-on wing kind of some people might think looks good, and the cambered wheels, the cambered gold wheels at that, and I guess scraping your entire new body kit on the ground you might think looks cool, but really, what is going on with that exhaust? And once again, I just don't understand how any of these things are legal. I mean, I can understand how people make them, but how are they even on the road? And really, how are they on the road? Because like they said, all you could hear was scrapes, creaks, and fart sounds. So how does anything that has that much camber and is been lowered to that degree just get anywhere? You can see right here, there's a little crack, and I'm sure it'll probably kind of like a skateboard, just completely stop if it hits the thing. I think my favorite part about the entire thing is the fact that they said fart sounds, you know, not pops and crackles, no, just just straight fart sounds, just absolutely just blasting, you know. No need to give a false idea about it actually sounding good. No. And I mean, it makes sense with that exhaust, how it certainly wouldn't be sounding good. I mean, hey, I'm sure to them it sounds incredible, but to the rest of the world, especially to any of their neighbors, they're just going, oh my goodness, shut that racket up. I mean, the thing always is, I can understand how people make these cars if they're just going to be show cars or just going to be somehow track cars. Even then, I don't understand how to be able to get anywhere. But I can understand if it's kind of just more a project car that you actually just take out to a show or something, then I guess it makes sense. But when you actually see things like this driving on the road, and like they said, going about 15 miles an hour because they can't go any faster and wouldn't dare to, it just doesn't make sense to me how anyone thinks that that is anywhat drivable on a normal public road. It honestly baffles my mind how anyone will put that much kind of, I guess, money and just time and effort into, well, maybe what could be a daily driver. And so really, as shitty as the entire kind of mod might be, especially for, like I said, the neighbors, I think the fact that someone is daring to drive this on a public road is probably the scariest thing about it. And so now finally for the top of the mod for questionable car mods, we have literally why. What are we gonna have? Here we go. Alrighty then. Whoa. Oh my goodness. Once again, like I said earlier, it's gotta be Florida or Alabama, but this one just takes the cake being Florida. They obviously couldn't fit this down for a basketball hoop, and they actually fit the car in the garage, so they just went, you know what, stuff it. I'm just gonna weld it straight onto the exhaust, or I guess that's gonna be onto the toe bolt or something like that, but we're just gonna run with it like that, you know. Who cares about the clearance and never going into a car back? No. Basketball is definitely more important than that. But wow, that is certainly impressive that someone has managed to think that kind of out of the box. Like I always say, it's just completely baffling to me, and I just don't understand how people can be this creative, you know. In this case, it is a basketball hoop. In the next case, it's some kind of pool, or who knows what it may be, but people always just find a way, especially in Florida, to just make their car just seem as ridiculous and outlandish as possible, it seems. I'm sure to them it doesn't seem outlandish, so that is probably just another impressive thing. The fact that they have zero awareness about what people might be thinking about them is just honestly incredible. And really, as long as the thing is probably attached to the car and then probably joined, and the top half of the thing isn't going to suddenly just fly off and impale through someone's windscreen behind you, then really, if that's the kind of thing you want to be doing to your car and that's somehow legal, I mean, I guess it is Florida, so that's the kind of thing that seems to just run in that town. But really, if that's the kind of thing you want to be doing to your car and you actually have a use case for it, because I can only imagine that you're going to drive the thing around and actually use it, then I guess who am I to be saying that this thing is shitty? Because really, if you have a use for it and it's actually safe, then more power to you. But anyway, that is going to do it for the top of the month for questionable car mods, so thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to do the YouTube and look at things down below. Let me know if you had a favorite post out of any of these. Other than that, we check out awesome posts all over it, so make sure you check some of the other videos out now, or maybe you even just want to consider subscribing so don't miss another one of these in the future. But all in all, have a good one and see ya.